Ladies and gentlemen, the opening session for the Infocom 2018 conference is the theme keynote on When Digital Becomes Human. This session is brought to you by Accenture Technology, the technology knowledge partner for Infocom 2018. Today, ladies and gentlemen, we are very privileged to have amongst us the theme keynote speaker, Mr. Steven van Belleghem, expert in customer focus in a digital world, author, keynote speaker, and entrepreneur, co-founder of Nexxworks and Snackbytes. Before I invite him onto the stage, let me say a few words to introduce him. Mr. Steven van Belleghem is an entrepreneur and is a co-founder of the consultancy firm Nexxworks and the co-founder of the content creation company Snackbytes. He's also a part-time marketing professor at Vlerick Business School. He has delivered more than 750 keynote presentations and has reached out to more than 200,000 people across the globe. He is the author of 4 best-selling books. He became known for his first book, The Conversation Manager, which won the award for Most Innovative Marketing Book of 2010. Mr. Steven also wrote The Conversation Company, When Digital Becomes Human, the best marketing book of 2015, and his most recent book, Customers, The Day After Tomorrow, has sold over 100,000 copies and has been published in 7 languages. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together to welcome Mr. Steven van Belleghem to deliver his keynote on When Digital Becomes Human, the theme for Infocom 2018. A very warm welcome to you, sir.
Thank you very much. Good morning, everyone. And thank you for inviting me. This is fantastic for me to be here. A few years ago, I wrote a book called When Digital Becomes Human, and then coming all the way from Europe to India to see that this is the theme of a conference is really fantastic. So thank you very much for that. I'm very proud that I can bring you this story and hope that you will like it. This is a story not about technology. This is a story about how customer expectations are changing and how we can become customer-centric in a digital world. And you know, many companies today have this question, how can we become customer-centric in a world of automation? And for me, the essence of the whole thing is really very basic, actually. I think this is the future of customer experience summarized on one slide, that we figure out ways how we can use technology to automate as many processes as possible. And because of that, the humans can lay a sort of emotional layer on top of that relationship with customers. But before I dive into the details, I just want to tell you how I came to this idea of this talk. And it has a lot to do with our family. I have 2 children, and they're 7 and 9, 2 boys, a lovely wife, and we're a big fan of robots in our house. We have a lot of robots, and this is actually our favorite robot in our house, a vacuum cleaning robot. We're a huge fan of it. It helps us to, clean up the kitchen after our children had breakfast, but it also helps us to raise the children. So I will tell you a trick. This is how we do it. I push that clean button in the middle of that robot, and then my children hear a sound effect. It goes like this, like doo-doo. So the children hear doo-doo. And then they look at me, and then they say, Dad, you didn't release the robot. And then I say, yeah, I just released the robot. And then they say, but our toys, our Legos are still on the floor. And then I tell them, I know, you have 30 seconds left. And then they start to clean like crazy. So for us, this is a fantastic mechanism. We do doo-doo, and boom, they start to clean. And I can tell you it works perfectly, but after a while, as a young parent, you suddenly realize that that machine has more authority over your children than you do as a human. And that is a difficult moment in your life as a young parent. So my wife and me, we had a brainstorm about that, and we decided to mentally get over it. And we decided to raise our children with the 3 of us, the 2 humans plus the robot. And for us, it works really fine. We discovered that man and machine are stronger than man alone. And even if your children are still really young, you can still get a robot like that because they will enjoy it in a different way. But our family is a huge fan of it. And it brought me to that essence that the goal is, as a company, to combine those strengths of digital to make sure you can automate many processes. And because of that, you can put a layer on top of that that becomes more emotional, which is the key let's say, benefit that we can add as humans. Now, if you look at the history of management, in the past, in business schools, what they taught us is that we had to make a choice, that we had to choose between operational excellence, being very efficient, or customer intimacy. And what you see more and more today is that smart companies actually combine the two. And they use smart technologies to become very efficient. And on the other hand, they use humans to be very emotionally engaged with customers and combine the strengths of those two. This here is one of my favorite examples. It's a company called Citizen M. It's a new style hotel chain that we have in Europe and the US. And it's very strange. It's not like this hotel. I mean, here we have beautiful big rooms. There, Citizen M, it's probably the smallest hotel room you have ever seen on the planet. And if you check in, it's not like here that friendly people are welcoming you. It's a fully automated system. And, you know, the traditional hotel industry, they thought that this was an awful system because they said, you know, if you go to a hotel, there should be people welcoming you. I mean, it's the hospitality business. These guys are saying, no, we disagree because, you know, if you go to a hotel, in a business hotel, and you check in, usually the first thing they give you is like a piece of paper, and then you have to fill out your address and all the information, which they already have because you made the booking online. That's like a sad moment in your customer experience. And then you have to hand over that paper to that friendly man or woman that is there for you, and they have to type in that information in a computer system that may be from the previous century. No added value in the relationship, just an awkward moment that is wasting time of customers. So at Citizen M, they're saying we're going to fully automate the check-in to make sure that people can get their room key as fast as possible. We don't invest in humans in that part of the relationship. However, they decided to invest in humans in what they feel is the most important part of the hotel. I don't know what you think in India is the most important part of a hotel. In Belgium, where I come from, we feel the most important part of the hotel is the bar, the hotel bar. But the truth is, in many hotels, I go to a lot of hotels all over the world, and in many hotels, the hotel bar is like the saddest place on the planet, the most lonely place on the planet. Not at Citizen M, because they invested in humans that love to work there. They're having the time of their life. They're making cocktails like true showmen. And, you know, the rooms are so small that everyone is in that bar. And the good thing about the bar is it's also open 24/7 because they believe if you arrive at 2 a.m. in the morning in a hotel that you should be able to get a beer if you feel like having a beer. And it's fantastic. Good food, good drinks, very cheap, great Wi-Fi. And they invest in humans there. So, you know, this hotel group has lovers and haters. Some people love it. Some people think it's awful. But what I find really intriguing is the exercise that they've done. They looked at all the interactions they have with customers, and then they started to define in which of those interactions do humans add value, and if they do, let's invest more in humans. And in which interactions humans do not add value, well, let's invest more in technology in those. And let's combine those two. Now, I don't know if you have seen this film. This is,
how was the first
you can
day
put
of
the
school?
sound a little bit more silent. This is one of my favorite Disney films. It's called Inside Out, and it shows you how our brain works, seen from the eyes of a teenage girl. If you haven't seen it, this is your homework for after the conference. Because this video shows you how our brain works, how our emotions are programmed, and then you will see that it's not programmed in a really good way. Because we have 5 emotions, only one positive one, joy. Then we have sadness, we have anger, we have disgust, and we have fear. So we have 5 emotions and 4 of them are negative. That is why customers complain so much. They cannot help it. They were programmed in a wrong way. But if you know this and you know that, you can actually combine those two. So for me, this is the summary of customer experience in a digital world, where we have to figure out as organizations and as a society to create the best possible digital interfaces the world has ever seen. And if you succeed in that, you can actually neutralize a lot of the negative emotions. And if you do a good job, well, then the humans can put an additional emotional layer on top of that. And it's that combination that really works well. I meet a lot of companies that tell me, oh, we've got the humans. We'll do technology later. But that doesn't work anymore because if you don't have technology, the humans have to neutralize the negative emotions, and the customer doesn't give you the time and the space anymore to add emotions on top of that. So the challenge is how to combine that. As you will notice throughout this presentation, I'm a huge Disney fan. And if you go to Disney World, one of the really impressive projects that they installed in the last few years are the magic bands. So if you go to Disney World in Florida, in the US, every member of the family that goes there gets a magic band, which is great because that band actually does everything for you. It opens up your hotel room, it gives you access to the parks, it allows you to pay. You just have to hold the bracelet against the Mickey sensor and pats, you've paid. And I can tell you, for someone like me, this is extremely dangerous. I walk around there like this, like buying stuff all the time, and then 5 days later, you get the check, and then it feels really impressive to look at your own behavior. And I thought it was just me, because I'm an easy victim for all of this. But you know, I was very happy when I saw the annual report of Disney that had this as headline. It says, "The magic bands are magic money makers." It wasn't just me that spent more money. The truth is that people with that bracelet, and Accenture was part of that project. The truth is, people with that bracelet spend 30% more money than people without it. If you make it fast, easy, and fun for people to spend money with your organization, there's a big chance that they will actually do it. But the best part is the overall integration between on and offline. So I'm a huge fan of the app. You know, you walk around in Disney World and you make reservations for the rides. You go on the rides with your app. And in some of the restaurants, they've installed sensors now so they can virtually see you coming. So you made a reservation, you walk up to the door of that restaurant, the door opens up, and they're saying, "Hey, Steven, we were expecting you. We saw you coming, and we know you're a family of 4, 2 young children. Please follow us to your table." Versus, "Do you have a reservation? What's your last name?" Me saying, "Van Belleghem." That's a big hit in other countries. So then it's always an awkward moment to find me on that list. You can imagine that. Now they take out that annoying process by automation. And the cool thing is, me as a guest, I don't have the feeling that it's technology that's doing a good job. I have the feeling that the humans are doing a good job. Why? Because Disney is facilitating their humans with smart technologies to do a better job, a more personalized job, and combining those strengths of digital and human. And that works really, really well for them. But now, I think you feel this as well in your day-to-day practice. If you read everything in the press about technology, we're moving into this new phase of digital. And in my opinion, what 2007 was for mobile was 2017 for artificial intelligence. We're at the beginning of a new S-curve. Like in 2007, when the iPhone came out, it was the beginning of a new S-curve, the S-curve of mobile, which changed societies, which changed our day-to-day behavior. I mean, if I look back to 2007, nobody expected how important mobile phones would be today. I think we're at the same point now for artificial intelligence. I don't know if you've seen this. This is the trailer of the new Lion King film that came out last weekend. And the top trailer is the trailer from 1994, so 24 years ago. The bottom one is for the movie that will come out next summer. This, for me, is just, in one blink of an eye, you can see how technology evolved in the last 25 years. If we would have seen those below images 10 years ago, we would have thought, wow, that is fantastic how they can film nature in action. And it's fully computer generated. So you feel how we're becoming part of this new S-curve, and it's really fascinating. But my worry is that, you know, at the end of the day, that we become overexcited about technology. And technology is really cool, but I think we shouldn't get overexcited about it. I think we should keep our focus on customers and creating customer benefits and figuring out how we can really create value for them. I have the pleasure of spending quite some time with big technology companies. I spend quite some time with Google every year. And every time I go there, this is one of the slides that they present. And this is my favorite slide at Google, because it goes further in customer experience than what a lot of companies do. If people cannot write, it's our problem. If they don't speak the language, it's our problem. If the internet is too slow, it's our problem. they don't blame it on the customer. They figure out a way how to solve it. And I meet many companies that tell me that they are extremely customer focused, but it's like the man here on the right that tells his wife when he comes back from his job that he saved the planet, that he's completely convinced that he's doing an outstanding job in terms of security there. I meet a lot of companies that tell me we're completely customer-centric, and then you look at their scores and they have negative customer satisfaction scores. So the challenge is to avoid that, and there's still room for improvement. This is one of my favorite examples, United Airlines. I'm a huge fan of United Airlines, but I never fly with them. I fly about 150 times a year, but never with United. But I'm a big fan because every year they do funny stuff that I can use in my presentations. And I would like to thank them for that and encourage them to continue to do so. So a few months ago, this was one of their moments of glory. So there was a passenger sitting on the wrong seat of the plane, and in their own United Airlines style, they asked that passenger to leave that seat. You can see that happening right here. Now, you have to know the marketing slogan of United is, "We are the friendly smile in the sky." This is the friendly smile in the sky in real life. So there's a gap. There's a gap between marketing and reality. Now, what you need to do on a day like this is go to social media to see how customers think about this. Because then customers say, a smile in the sky, that's not the best thing. Let's invent some new slogans for these guys. And then they come up with things like this. United actually means we treat you like we treat your luggage. That's a good alternative. Or this one here, not enough seating, prepare for a beating. But my favorite one is this one. If you cannot beat your competitor, you beat your customer. So thank God for United Airlines, just don't fly with them. But they don't think like this. You know, if you look at the innovations of Google, they're trying to solve every single one of these issues with innovations. And because of that, we thank them every single day. And it's a challenge to keep your eye on that customer. And I think one of the challenges for all of us is to get out of our bubble, you know. Every single one of you in the room, me, we all live on our own little bubble, the bubble of our society, the bubble of our company, maybe the office in our company. And, you know, I had the pleasure a few weeks ago to meet with President Obama when he was in Europe. And this is one of the things that he talked about. He said the White House is probably the biggest bubble on the planet. If you are President of the United States, there's probably no other position where you're further away from day-to-day reality. So he tried to get out of that bubble. And one of the things that he did, and I was impressed with that, it's simple, but I think it's effective. That was every night before he went to bed, he read 10 letters of US citizens. And, you know, this was his final homework. And he was talking about this, and he said, you know, as a president of America, you do your homework and you start with all the issues. And point one is maybe the war in Afghanistan, and it's solving an economical crisis. And then you read a letter of someone that lives in Arizona that doesn't have enough money with their pension to buy food at the end of the month. And then he says, everything I've been working on is basically of zero relevance for a lot of the citizens in my country, which are my customers. So it's a challenge for all of us to get out of that bubble and to see things and to understand how markets are evolving. You know, and the things sometimes that we see at home, also take them to our companies and implement them. I was recently visiting Twitch, and Twitch is the largest esports community of the world. So basically what happens is that people play games. Usually young people, they play games. Fortnite is now the most popular game. And then they start streaming that on platforms, and Twitch is the largest one in the world. And then when they start, other people can watch them play those games. Like for me, I don't know about you, I don't know your market well enough, but for me, my children, they like to play games, but my youngest son, he spends more time watching other children playing games than he is actually playing. For me, that was totally weird, but for them, it's like the most normal thing in the world. This guy is called Ninja. That's his code name on Twitch. Ninja, he's the most popular gamer in the world right now. So if he starts to play, instantly between 75 and 100,000 people start watching him when he's playing. And this guy is now making $500,000 a month by playing computer games, and other people are watching that. Why am I telling this? Because these are communities that are significant, that are large, that a lot of business people of, let's say, our age here in the group isn't familiar with, isn't aware of, or we are aware of it, but we don't think about it. And I think our challenge is to get out of that bubble, to see all these evolutions and understand what it could mean, and see if we can learn from that to make sure we can bring value to customers. Huh? And you know, my favorite quote of Larry Page is this one. Why do toasters still burn toast? We can do everything on this planet. We have people in outer space, but making a toaster that does not burn toast is extremely hard. And make no mistake, we have smart toasters now on the planet. And you know what this does? It sends you a text message the moment that your toast is ready, in case you have forgotten what happened with that bread in those 30 seconds that it's in that machine. I mean, and still, you get burnt toast. So nobody is waiting for this. This is what I call the Internet of stupid things. We make it because technology allows us to do, but nobody is waiting for that. Why do we have toasters that burn toast? It's bringing no relevance for customers. And the challenge is figuring out what can we do that brings value to customers. I was recently speaking in Canada, and I met with this guy here on the left. His name is Fred, and he is the founder of what is now the fastest growing travel app in the world, and it's called Hopper. And what they do is simple but brilliant. They give you the opportunity to book flights through their app, but in 75% of the cases, they will say, this is not a good time to buy this ticket. And what these guys do is they've been monitoring the evolution of price curves of airlines for 10 years. And now they have an algorithm that can predict when it's going to be the lowest price to buy. So if you work together with them, they will send you a push notification saying this is a good moment to buy. And you're going to save 10 to 15% on that ticket. Of course, this is value where everyone is waiting for, because everyone knows that airlines are playing with prices. We just don't know how. These guys figured it out, and they're facilitating us with that. That is fantastic. And that's part of that flip from mobile first to AI first. But I do believe the complexity is increasing. I believe the complexity of competing is increasing. This is what I've been taught in marketing classes 20 years ago. They told me if you want to win in business, you have to make sure that you're really good in one thing and be average in all the others. So if you want to win, make sure you have the best service, or that you're the cheapest one, or that you have the most beautiful store. I think this doesn't apply anymore, because that bar of customer expectations, bam, it went all the way up. So if you want to win in today's highly competitive markets, this is how you play. Basically, every touch point, every interaction has to be good, and then hopefully you have a few that even stand out. And this is the end of the USP. This is what I've been trained in marketing back in the days, a unique selling proposition. I don't think this exists anymore. And this is the big paradox of phase 3 of digital, that the complexity for organizations is increasing, and at the same time, the level of interactions with customers should be easier than ever before. Think about this. What is in today's world the scarcest resource people have? For a lot of people, time has become the scarcest resource. If you agree with that, then the question is, how focused are you on saving out time of your customers? How focused are you on creating the ultimate convenience? Look, we all know that, you know, these big technology companies from Silicon Valley, they did pretty well on the stock market, right? We're all not in the last 2 weeks, but before that, they did a pretty good job. But this is an interesting one. A company that outperformed Google times 200 on the stock market. A company called Domino's Pizza. A company that is selling pizza is outperforming the top technology companies in the world. That is crazy. And you know how they do it? Very simple. For me, this is like the metaphor of two people, two friends, you know, walking in the jungle. Imagine you and your best friend walking in the jungle, and you're enjoying the scenery, the landscape. It's a beautiful day. And suddenly a lion shows up. You know what's important at that moment? That you run faster than your friend. That is the most crucial part. You don't have to outrun the lion, you have to outrun your friend at that moment. And that is exactly what Domino's did. They said, we cannot outrun Google, but we can do a better job than Pizza Hut or Round Table Pizza. And we can be the fastest, the most easy, and the most fun one to order pizza from. And that's basically what they've done. And they shamelessly copy-pasted companies like Amazon. Amazon has the dash buttons. They have the push for pizza button. You put this on your desk, you push it, 20 minutes later, you got your pizza. They have the zero-click app. Can you imagine that? The zero-click app. You just have to open up the app, and 20 minutes later, they bring your favorite pizza. They're fast, they're easy, and they're fun. But the interesting thing is, behind the scenes, how they transformed themselves. Today, half of their staff are technologists. Today, Domino's Pizza is not a pizza company anymore. Today, Domino's Pizza is a technology company that happens to sell pizza. And they've done the best job in their industry. They outperformed all the others. And because of that, they outperformed the stock market like crazy because they were focused like crazy on convenience. And I think it's super interesting to see how convenience is not just something that happens in the digital world, but it's something that you see more and more in the offline world. I was recently in China, and these are the Hema stores, the retail concept of Alibaba. And for me, this was something that I've never seen before in the West. Stores that were extremely beautiful, fresh products, brilliantly showcased, but it's a perfect blend between on and offline interfaces. Think about the Amazon Go stores. They released this video 2 years ago. In Seattle, they started with a store. If you walk in, you scan your Amazon Go app, then you take out of the stores whatever you want, and you don't have to pay. It happens automatically thanks to sensors and AI technology. And this is pretty advanced stuff. Today it works. Today they're rolling this out all over the US now. They got now stores in San Francisco and New York. And their plan is to open 3,000 of them in the next 3 years. If you look in China, JD, the second largest e-commerce player, and moving into offline retail, they saw this and they thought, that's fantastic. They decided, beginning of this year, to open hundreds of those stores this year. And then they changed their mind and they said at a certain moment, let's open up 1,000 of these stores every single day. So what is happening here? They're basically taking out everything that people hate about shopping. The waiting in line, the hustling with products, the paying, they take that out. Imagine how more convenient it becomes if you just walk in, you take what you need, and you walk out. It's becoming an effortless interface. And it's saving time of customers. And I think the big challenge for, let's say, normal organizations is that you have these big technology companies, these big platforms that are really, really good at that. And these are companies that are really going for world dominance. Every market seems to be interesting for them, and they're like magnets for consumer power. They're magnets for money, magnets for talent. These are companies that don't compete in a market. These are companies that compete for a market. They don't want to have a piece of the pie. They want to have the pie. So this is a new kind of competition that sometimes feels strange. I don't know in India, but in Europe, sometimes we have the feeling it feels unfair because sometimes we feel that different laws and regulations apply to these companies. And sometimes it feels like this, that you have this handful of extremely powerful companies, mainly American and Chinese, and then all the rest of us, we're like playing on the B level. And we're getting dominated really, really fast sometimes by these players. So, for instance, look at the smart speaker market. Amazon is extremely successful with their Echo, with Amazon Alexa, a smart speaker, a computer without a keyboard, a virtual assistant. There are different names for it. And the adoption curve is pretty steep right now. These are the latest figures that I've found. In the US now, half of the population have a smart speaker. And if you look at what they do with it, they use it for basic stuff like setting timer and playing songs, but also this, buy something on Amazon. 1 out of 3 is using a voice interface to buy something, which means that 1 out of 2 is saying, hey, Alexa, I need toothpaste, can you help me with that? And then that machine says, sure, same as last time? Yes, same as last time. Okay, tomorrow morning, you have it. This is a new phase in e-commerce. It's more moving into automated commerce, where it's not a 1-button interface, it's a 0-button interface. And I think what they're doing is extremely smart. I always compare it with Facebook installing the Facebook algorithm. 10 years ago, Facebook started with the Facebook algorithm, and we all know how it works. Facebook decides what content we see or we don't see, right? And we know the benefits and the downsides of it. Amazon is now doing the exact same thing, only this is not an information filter, this is a product filter. Amazon has the power to filter out which products you are exposed to and which products you're not exposed to. Imagine that they succeed. They have it now in about half of the US households. Imagine that they go up to 75%. And they have the biggest store in the world behind that, and they can decide which products you see and you don't see. This is the biggest product filter the world has ever seen. So consumer good companies, this could fundamentally change the way they have to go to market. If I want to buy cat food now and I say, Alexa, I need cat food, she recommends me this one, and she says, oh, Stephen, I would buy this kind of cat food. And maybe I will ask for an alternative. Maybe I will say, oh, I'll take the next one. Or maybe I will say, give me another one, Alexa. But I will never see the hundreds types of cat food that you see in large supermarkets. And today, people are using these smart speakers to inform themselves about which products to buy. Half of them is using it for product search and research. This is quite significant. And the digital shelf space will be smaller than the physical shelf space. This is placing a filter in between one large company, Amazon, and millions of other companies. It is extremely convenient for me as a user, but it's also a threat for a lot of retailers and consumer good companies out there. But the truth is, in this phase 3 of AI, this is what customers want. They want you to save their time by faster than real-time service, by anticipating, by creating hyper-personalized services. It's not the average customer that we worry about, it's the individual customer. And it's about having the most convenient interfaces the world has ever seen. And this is what AI can do. And the bad news is, those big technology platforms, they're really good at this. The good news is, I meet more and more companies that are non-native technology companies that are starting to understand this and are using this to get ready for that day after tomorrow. And this is my invitation to all of you. I think at a certain moment, we need to dare to dream about what is possible, what would be the best customer interaction and the best customer engagement we can imagine. And then let's reverse engineer that back to today. And if we start out there with that dream and reverse engineer it back, that will bring us further than just taking what we have today and incrementally improving it step by step. And phase 3 will invite us to do that. This is a perfect time to get ready for that day after tomorrow. Use artificial intelligence in a smart way to create new customer benefits. I'm a huge fan of that. It excites me. This is our guiding star for the future. But then, of course, the key question comes up. The theme of the conference, when digital becomes human. We're at the beginning of a new S-curve. A lot is possible. Automation will improve customer experience like crazy. And then the question is, do we still need humans? And I think we all know the answer, a very simple answer, yes, we do. And I'm an economist, and there's this old economic law that will start to play. It's the law of scarcity. When something becomes scarce, it increases in value. And the one thing that is becoming more and more scarce between companies and their customers is the human-to-human interaction. And because of the fact that it's scarce, it increases in value. It is decreasing in frequency, and because of that, it's increasing in value. But the consequence of the digital transformation is the human transformation. We will have to do things differently in another way. I brought a video for you. For this one, we can put the sound on. And I just want to show it to you because for me, it symbolizes the limits of technology and the power of the human touch. Let's watch this video.
แม่ลูกตื่นมาแล้วร้องใหญ่เลยอะแม่
สงสัยหิวนม
นมใช่ไหมอะแม่
เปิดการ์ตูน
โอเคการ์ตูนนะลูกการ์ตูนแม่ลูกไม่ได้ติดการ์ตูนลูกติดแม่โอเคไหม
งั้นเอางี้
ลูกคุยกับแม่หน่อยนะคุยกับแม่
จ๊ะเอ๋แม่อยู่นี่ไงลูก เห็นแม่ไหมคะ
จำกันไม่ได้จ๊ะเอ๋มัม
กินจังเลยปังเป่งปังเป่งปังเป่งปังเป่งปังเป่งปังเป่งนี่โอ้ไม่ร้องนะลูก
glad you like it. It's a beautiful video. Huh? Technology will never replace love. Humans can add a value to a customer relationship that machines cannot. It's human judgment, it's human emotions, it's empathy, it's enthusiasm, it's passion, it's creativity. I think the goal for us humans is to be really good in those fields where computers are not good at. And this is the field. And the crazy thing is, the more digital the world becomes, the more important this will be. And I see the evolution of work like this. In the past, everyone worked with their hands. More and more people today work with their brain. In the future, I think if we want to make a difference compared to machines, we will have to work more with our hearts and more emotional and put human warmth into the game. And you know, more and more I'm convinced that this is a bad question to ask your customers. Don't ask, or your company, don't ask yourself, what can we do to make our customers loyal? I think it's the wrong question. We should turn it around. What can we do to become loyal to our customers? When are we loyal to our customers? And guess what? If you do that, they will stay loyal to you. Crazy thing is, if we talk about loyalty, we come up with gimmicks that are worthless to customers. What they really want when it matters, that you are loyal to them. It's as simple as that. And if we do that, this is human. This is what we can do. Computers personalize, people make it personal. It sounds the same, but it's a huge difference. Computers predict, but humans can surprise. Computers deliver, but humans can over-deliver. At the end of the day, the only thing that we can do as humans that computers cannot is leave the script. We can leave the script. We need humans that color outside of the lines in favor of the customer. Let me share you this anecdote with you. When we were in Disney World with the family a couple of years ago, we also went to their competitor across the street, Universal Studios. And my oldest son was then 4.5 years old. And he was already a big fan of these water rides. And I showed him all videos I could find. I said, Sibe, that's his name. I said, Sibe, 2 more weeks and 1 more week, tomorrow. So he was ready. I mean, he was hyped up like never before. So we went straight to the park, straight to that ride. And as I said, I did my marketing really good, but my research was really bad because he was 2 centimeters short to go on the ride. Now, I don't know if you've ever had a 4-year-old in your life, but maybe if you did, you remember that they have many tools to show the world that they are unhappy with the situation. And he used that tools to its full potential that morning, and that was entirely my fault. So that was a bad start of the day. And the guy from the park, the employee there, he saw that, so he came to us and he said, look, I just saw what happened, and I want to soften the pain a little bit. And I have this coupon here. So he brings out this coupon from his pocket, and this is a VIP coupon. And your son can use that for the rest of his life. And he will never have to wait in line again, and we're going to do all kind of cool stuff with him, so it's going to be fantastic. And I thought, wow, this is great. They thought about this, they have a solution, fantastic. So I took this picture for my book and my presentations, until I noticed that even though I liked this had 0 impact on my 4-year-old son. 0.0 impact. Those guys are more into the real-time solutions, not in 20 years solutions. So it didn't work at all. So if the guy from the park would have been a robot, this is where it would have stopped, because he executed this predefined script. A good script, but it didn't work. But he was human, empathic, passionate, creative. And he said, look, I see it doesn't work, but I do want to help you. What is a ride that your son would like to go to? And we said Spider-Man was next on the list. And the guy said, okay, let me see what I can do. So he grabbed his walkie-talkie, and I could overhear that conversation. And he was talking to his friend at the Spider-Man ride, explained it a little bit, and said, could you put these people on the ride for me? Oh, that's awesome, fantastic, thank you. Yes, you will recognize them, because one child has a pretty bad mental breakdown right now. Huh? So just put them on the ride. And that's what they did. And it worked out fine, and before we knew it, life was good again. And you know what? It's those small things that are human. Those are the things that machines cannot understand, and humans feel that, and that's what we want to do with each other. And probably in 95% of the cases, it's okay to have a digital interaction, but when it really matters to you, then you don't want to talk to some sort of a machine, then you want to talk to a human. This is what differentiates us from machines, so we have to make sure that this is what our people excel in a digital world. And this is my invitation for you. Remember the video I showed about Inside Out with the 4 negative characteristics. This is my invitation. If you're in a meeting somewhere in the next week and you're talking about a customer and your feeling is that one of these 4 characters is taking over the meeting, I would gladly invite you to stand up in that meeting and ask the group, what would joy do? And the more decisions joy takes in your company, the more human you will become. The more decisions these 4 will take, the less human you are. It's about being more joyful, being more human, showing more warmth to customers that really will help you to reach that point that I describe as when digital becomes human. I'm coming to the end of my talk. I do these things because I hope that it gives different perspective to the world and help you understand the situation that we're in. We're at the beginning of a new phase, which is a perfect moment to really think about the future and to really dare to describe your own day after tomorrow, reverse engineer it and start developing it. And using customers as a guiding star for that is the way forward to reach that point of customers the day after tomorrow when digital becomes human. So if you ask me about the future of customer relationships, this is how I started this morning. Now you have more context to understand my point of view of that. But I believe that efficiency is necessary and we need automation for that. But emotions are also necessary. We need humans for that. And think about the law of scarcity. When something becomes scarce, it increases in value. The human part is becoming scarce. And because of that, it is increasing in value. But it implies that humans will have to be acting differently, more emotionally, more doing business with the heart to stand out versus computers. So if you want to be extreme customer-centric, I think most organizations are facing a double transformation. All of us have to invest a lot in digital. There's no other way. But I also recommend to invest at the same time in the human part and reach that point where you combine the strengths of digital with the strengths of human to create that unique customer relationship and to reach that point where digital becomes human. This is what I had for you this morning. If you'd like to see more of me, feel free to follow me on Instagram. And I hope you have a fantastic conference here. And I would really like to thank you again for having me here and for listening to my story. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Stephen. May I request you to kindly take your seat?
Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have with us Dr. Bhaskar Ghosh, Group Chief Executive, Accenture Technology Services. Before I invite him on stage, let me say a few words to introduce Dr. Bhaskar Ghosh. Dr. Bhaskar Ghosh is the Group Chief Executive of Accenture Technology Services, one of Accenture's 5 business areas. Dr. Bhaskar Ghosh has the overall responsibility for the Accenture Application Services business. In this role, Dr. Ghosh's focus is to enable enterprises to embrace digital disruption and drive growth through innovation and services designed to reinvent their application portfolio. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together as I invite Dr. Bhaskar Ghosh to join us on stage and host an interactive session with Mr. Stephen Van Belleghem. A big round of applause for Dr. Ghosh.
Thank you, Stephen, for a wonderful presentation.
It's my pleasure.
So I am convinced that no robot, no technology can deliver such passionate speech.
Thank you. Thank you.
So, based on your presentation, there are many interesting aspects you have touched. Let's talk about your first part of the presentation where you have shown about the hotel with a completely automated hotel without a receptionist. And I'm sure that there are many organizations are going towards the digital and trying to automate everything with AI, with robots and the technology.
Yes.
What is your view and what is your guidance that how much they should automate and where they should stop, which part of technology they should automate, which part of interaction they should retain with them?
Yeah, it's a very accurate question. I think this is on the table of every company. How far can we go with automation? And I think the answer is you can go really far. The question is, how do you deliver value to customers? And I think that in many, many customer interactions, humans do not add value. And customers don't expect that human aspect. They want fast and easy. I don't know about your market. If I look in my market, insurances, for instance, in 95% of the cases when I have an issue with an insurance company, I want fast and easy. I don't need humans for that. But if my house would burn down or someone passes away in my family or something hits me emotionally, please give me a human. So I think that in a lot of the interactions, automation is the best solution, and you can de-invest in humans. But because of that, you can actually invest a lot more in humans in those areas where it really matters. And I think this is where it's going in terms of customer expectations. People want to have extreme services, which doesn't mean they want to have access to everything everywhere. But they want you to offer 1 or 2 channels that are extremely convenient, and they want you to install humans that are very capable in helping you. They don't want to have average humans. They want to have humans that, when it really matters, can make a difference. So I think as a company, you need to identify all touch points, all interactions, figure out where technology adds value, invest a lot in automation, but also invest in those where humans add value and invest a lot in those humans.
That makes a lot of sense, Steve. So that comes to the next question that, so basically what you are telling that some part of the job will get automated, get replaced,
right,
and there will be a new job will come up and which needs more empathy, more connection with the human. Now the point is that if you look at from the talent perspective, that what do you think the future of talent which will be more appropriate for the next generation business model and the technologies? What kind of training is required for the people to rescale themselves to be relevant in the future?
I see 2 tracks in terms of talent. Track 1 is, of course, the digital one, where we need developers, AI specialists, machine learning people. So I think if you have the potential to become an expert in AI, you should take that and grab that, because today it's still very scarce. It's not like everyone is an AI expert today, so this is track 1. Track 2 is the more human part. Empathy, the soft skills, where you understand how to converse with other humans in a very empathic way. So I see those 2 tracks. Steep, deep learning technologies, but also soft skills that become more important. Human judgment. Human judgment becomes more important than ever before. So technology, human skills, those are the 2 tracks.
So that is great. Now, I was going to your books. I think one of your books is the Human and Digital and Human.
Yeah.
So in that, one of the survey you have done and where you have mentioned that 73% of the people feels that still the human connect is required. Yes. So when the people feel that way, what do they exactly mean? Where exactly they want the human connection?
They want the human connection when it is emotionally relevant to them. The moment when something severe happens in their life or something very positive happens in their life, they want humans. If you have something really exciting that happens to you, you don't want to just say it to a machine that says, oh, congratulations. You want to share it with friends and family. So when positive or negative emotions are popping up, that is exactly when they want to talk to other humans. When it's important, when it's fast, when it's complex, they want to talk to humans. So I don't think there's a possibility today to deliver a service without humans, even for Amazon. Look, I had this person once in the audience that bought something from Amazon and got the package, but the good was damaged. So the Amazon algorithm then says, okay, you can keep the damaged good and we'll send you a new one. But this was something very specific. And every time he got a new one, it was also damaged because Amazon was doing the packaging in the wrong way. And he tried to talk to a human at Amazon to solve that. Impossible. He just got into the loop from bot to bot to bot, and he said, I could have ordered 100 of those things and it would have worked. So at a certain point, humans want to talk to humans to share their feelings, to feel the flexibility, and to solve it in a human way.
And as you have shown in that video, that what human can do is the love and the affection and the emotion that definitely machine cannot bring.
Absolutely, yeah, fully agree.
I changed track. I go to a different area. I really liked your message on the new way of marketing, new way of connecting in home with Amazon, Alexa, and things like that. Now, you mentioned that Alexa is now, 50% of US homes has got Alexa now. How do you see that in other parts of the country, like in Europe, in Asia? How is the penetration of this kind of technologies happening in the other geographies?
Yeah, thank you for the question. I'm a huge fan of voice technology. I think it's the most natural interface the world has ever seen. You don't need to be able to read and write to speak. So it opens up new opportunities. Biggest market, US. Second biggest market at this moment is China. I saw that 140 million voice assistants were sold in China this year. In Europe, it's very, very low. It's, I think at this point, less than 5%. The reason is that in Europe, we have all our different languages. And now it's starting. They're starting to have it in French, in Dutch, in other languages as well. But natural language is, of course, crucial when you talk about voice. So the US is leading in this field. China is coming second. Other parts will follow once natural language is installed and when we have the right applications behind it. I mean, in many European markets, Amazon is still small. They're big in Germany, France, and UK, but they're, for instance, small in my country, Belgium or Holland. If you need the applications to be able to do something with the voice interface to create that relevance. So I think it's going to take 2 or 3 more years before we're going to reach, let's say, a significant point of adoption. But I'm convinced that voice is going to become the interface of the future. I think if we look back at how we make restaurant reservations today, on our phone, a small screen with our big fingers, versus saying, hey Google, book my favorite Italian restaurant, 12:30, 3 people. I mean, it's more convenient, it's faster, and once it really works, I think it's going to kick off like crazy.
And when you talked about that, in this new marketing model, actually Amazon or Alexa will have a control on a very large number of products in which they can recommend.
Yes.
So that comes to the point that how do you see the ethics in this business? This company, what kind of ethics standard they should follow, because otherwise that whole market can be disturbed.
Right. I saw a survey of Gartner that says digital ethics is now #1 on the list of corporations. It is untouched at this moment because in the past, technology was limited. But if you start to think about a world of artificial intelligence, where in theory everything is possible, digital ethics are crucial. Just think about the aspect of personalization. The moment that we can personalize everything, it means that you can personalize your product to me in terms of product, marketing, but also pricing. I think about pricing. What are companies going to do? Are they going to maximize profits with price personalization, or are they going to maximize the value for me? If you look at the app I described, Hopper, that allows you to buy airline tickets at the right moment, giving you the right price, that is maximizing pricing for me. I see oil companies that hope that at a gas station pretty soon there's no price on some sort of a billboard anymore, but that they scan the license plate, link it back to your address, add car, brand, and type to it, and then define how much you are capable of paying for gasoline. That's optimizing profits. I think those kind of ethical questions are becoming crucial. I think we're going to end up in a world where we're going to ask for algorithm transparency. Big public companies today have to be transparent about their financials, right? It's in their annual report and the entire world can look into their financials. I think we're going to see the same thing about algorithms, that the market will ask transparency in algorithms so that all of us can look into it and make sure that the algorithm is doing the right thing and is not lying. I mean, think about Volkswagen and the issue that they had. They developed a machine that can lie. Totally not ethical, but humans decided that. This will become impossible if you have algorithm transparency. So I think I think there's an urgency to do this fast, because 3, 4, 5 years from now, we're going to see so many possibilities with AI, and the knowledge about it will be so limited that companies with bad intentions, they will have an open playing field, unless we ask for algorithm transparency and experts can look into it to see if it's going into the right way. I think that's going to be crucial.
That is exactly right. And different countries are now coming up with the AI policies and AI strategies, law. I'm sure that will try to give a little bit of a guideline to the developers and the community that how they will apply AI in the future. But I'm sure that will something we need to all focus so that this is a huge opportunity, but it is used for the right way for the mankind.
Exactly.
I'll leave this with a last question for you.
Okay.
That, we have in this room a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of startup, a lot of executives. What will be your message for them in India in terms of that how they can participate in the digital revolution? What do you have any perspective from India view?
Well, I think if you look at the market in India, it's very big. Huh? You have a lot of people here. It's growing. It's not mature yet. I think this opportunity is a unique moment, actually, for the entrepreneurs in India. And not let it slip away. I think that would be so sad. If I look at Europe, my market, we're sometimes disappointed because if I look at the digital tools we use in Europe, they're mainly from Silicon Valley, Facebook, Twitter, Amazon, I mean, you know them all. And now Chinese players are coming in. Alibaba is coming in pretty aggressively. And there is hardly no digital superhero company in Europe. Spotify is probably the only thing that we have left. It would be so sad for the market here in India that if I come back 10 years from now, all the tools that you use are Chinese and American. You have such a market potential, such a talent potential that you have here, that I would say it would be fantastic to see digital superhero powers popping up from India that, of course, serve the Indian population. But imagine that you can take those platforms to other markets. That could be such an opportunity for India that I hope some of the people here in the room will grab and then take it forward.
That's a great message for the people over here. And India is a country with 1 billion+ mobile connections. So 60% of they are in smartphone. So I think this population will participate in the economy, participate in the digital revolution. So there's a lot of opportunity ahead of us. I think your presentation today will really give the highlights, give the direction, and where the industry is going, where the digital revolution is going. And I'm sure the people will benefit from here and drive the digital revolution in India. With that, thank you, Steve, for the excellent session.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Steven Van Belleghem, for the very interesting theme keynote. And thank you, Dr. Bhaskar Ghosh, for moderating the interactive session. May I now request Mr. Chandan Majumdar, Director Sales, ABB Private Limited, to please come forward and present mementos to Mrs. Steven and Dr. Ghosh. Can we have a huge round of applause for this very first session, which was very, very interesting. We thank Mrs. Steven and Dr. Ghosh. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you.